Yeah, first a big thank you for accepting this interview from the French website United Rock Nation. First question, can you tell us how the band was born and your choice to play thrash metal?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, Alien Weaponery started with me and Lewis just playing in our lounge, just jamming, and we wrote one song to begin with, and
Yeah, young boy.
yeah, we were. I was 10 and Lewis was 8, so we were quite young, and yeah, we wrote this horrible song called 80th Death, and actually made a music video for it, and so yeah, and that's how we started, and then 2 years later we met Ethan and he joined the band. And
Yeah, I mean, our sound's kind of developed since then, so we're more groovy than we used to be, rather than like we're more thrashy just by itself. So yeah, we've kind of gotten a little bit better.
Yeah,
Definitely over the years, man.
Been discovering our own taste in music and stuff, and kind of incorporating it. So yeah.
Yeah. You were very young. How did you experience metal music? You listen metal at 10 years?
How did we get into metal?
yeah.
Well, our father was always playing music around the house, and like he'd been playing in bands for years. So basically, me and Henry grew up, listening to most types of music, anything.
A lot of Metallica we grew up
Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, like Bob Marley, Pink Floyd, everything. The reason that I started playing guitar was because of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I guess me and Henry both gravitated towards metal.
Yeah, I mean, I first got into metal when these guys introduced me to it when I was 10. So well, the story goes is that I met Lewis at the local circus school in my little town that I live at, and he after a circus gig, he actually invited me back to his place because my mum couldn't pick me up for whatever reason, and Henry and Lewis were in the band room and they were just jamming, and I was kind of watching along with a couple other mates, and their father actually hands me a bass, and I try it out, and I thought it was cool, and it turns out I was actually the only kid there that had arms long enough to reach the end of the bass, so they're kind of like, well, picked me by default, and then said, there's band practice next week, do you want to come? So I said, yeah, and they introduced me to bands like Metallica and Trivium, and since then I've just been
Lamb of God.
Yeah, Lamb of God. Although I haven't really picked up Lamb of God as much as you guys, but I've been listening to metal ever since then. So
Yeah, cool. Does the choice to write Maori texts come from you or parents, friends?
Yeah, well,
and why?
Me and Lewis decided to start writing in Māori, partially because some of our friends were in a band, and it's like a ska reggae band, and they were singing in Māori, and we were going, it's cool, but it's very typical, it's in New Zealand you get a lot of reggae bands singing in Māori, and it got us thinking, what would it sound like if you were singing Māori but still, we're like thrash metal or groove metal. And so we wrote Ruana Te Whenua, which is the second track on the album, and that was the first song we ever wrote in Māori. And people seemed to like it, so we kept doing it.
Yes, we see on YouTube people like very.
Yeah.
It's a great concept, combination from.
Yeah. It's funny. We're surprised people haven't done it before, actually, because there are a lot of Māori metalheads in New Zealand, and then
Haka and Māori, the Māori language. And metal.
Haka and metal.
Let's start that sentence again, man.
Haka and metal actually draw quite a few like similarities with the aggression and like the passion and some of the topics they cover. So it just kind of came naturally when we decided to do it at first. Yeah.
Cool. Have you had time to become aware of growing success in the metal world? Your success is speed. Speed.
Yeah, fast.
Fast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's recent, but I mean we have been going for 8 years.
Yeah, I mean it has been a goal of ours to become a big band right from the very first point that we started the band. So yeah, I mean like when we were just playing in our lounge when we were still living in Auckland, that was, little 8-year-old Lewis and 10-year-old me were saying we want to be playing overseas and we want to be playing with bands like Metallica or Judas Priest or Iron Maiden.
The big name.
Yeah, and I mean we are working towards that goal. We've already played on the same festivals as Judas Priest, so that is a really awesome achievement, and I think we just want to keep moving forward from there.
I mean, nothing happened overnight. I mean, 6 years is still especially for a 16-year-old, 6 years is like nearly half my life. So it's been a pretty decently long journey, but I do understand that some musicians might work for 20 years and not get to the point where we are, and we really are grateful for where we are at the moment, and it's just all going really well. It's surprising and it's really cool.
Yes, for us too, you're the youngest band with this success.
Yeah.
That we see and you. How do you dread concert? Are the major festival different from the indoor concert?
How a big festival is different from.
Because Wacken and all.
They are very different. I feel like bigger festivals have a bit more of a wow factor for me, just because of the sheer amount of people there and like all the time that was put into organizing it, and like going out and playing for a massive audience that stretches for ages is an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
And I guess in an indoor environment you do kind of more have that sense of connecting with your fans, because it is a more enclosed environment, and it's a bit it's
easier to after a show you get off stage and you can go straight to where your merch is, or straight into the crowd and have a talk with the audience.
Yes, you talk with the
yeah. So that's always good. Although at Wacken, what we actually did is that as soon as we finished playing, we went straight to the front of the stage and we talked to we were there for probably a good 30 minutes or so.
Oh, it was longer than that. It's possibly
Possibly
45 minutes.
45 minutes
Just talking to everybody.
talking to fans and shaking
You're
their
going,
hands, hugs, and
can we buy a shirt?
Yeah. So that was awesome, and I mean we always try to engage with the audience as much on the stage and off the stage as possible. So
Yes, it's a good attitude for fun. Yes. Okay. Cool. Despite the album being recent, are you already composing, or you will? You're compose when the time comes.
Next album, is it?
Next album, or are you compose all the time, or
Yeah.
or
We've already
only
started working on some ideas for the next album, actually. So I feel like
a couple weeks ago we actually got into a studio when we had a bit of a break in the tour and we started writing. So we've already got some ideas down, and I mean even before then we had heaps of ideas. We always have ideas. I mean, being on the road, you're kind of stuck with ideas or riffs in your head that you feel like you need to get out into sound or whatever, but yeah.
I mean, occasionally what I'll do is I'll just do it with my mouth, do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't
It's
forget
good
it.
enough so
boom,
that,
boom, boom.
Yeah.
yes, but to remember. To
Yeah.
the things.
Yeah.
And hey,
If
it can
works,
be
it
kind of
works.
helpful. Yeah. But yeah, we've got a kind of a couple of song ideas and like a mostly put together song
Yeah.
that we wrote just when we were on that little break here. So, and then we've got some more stuff that we recorded back home in New Zealand before we left. So yeah, we're working towards that new album, and we wanna deliver it pretty fast so that people, aren't sitting there waiting, going, oh, it's taken them a while to write that second album.
Yes, but
I guess we're trying to make it better than this first album. We're always trying to get better than our previous achievement.
no, but the first is a very good one.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, people
We're-
seem to like it.
We're definitely pleased
Yeah,
with
yes.
the reception. We're really happy with the reception we got from the audience. And, yeah, I mean, we spent heaps of time on it. So, yeah, it was like 3 years of recording. So,
Yeah, well, it was over the space of 3 years.
yeah, not solid, but, we
We
did.
probably overall time spent in the studio, it probably took us, 3 weeks?
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe
No,
4.
no, it's 3 weeks.
Who knows?
So we spent 2,
Who knows?
yeah.
Just who knows?
We did it in little blocks and sections, and
yes,
so we didn't do
you
it all
record
at
two
once,
songs,
yeah.
Yeah.
You have a great number of video clips
Yeah.
already.
We've got
And-
a lot of video clips.
In New Zealand, we're lucky enough to have New Zealand on air, so they're really handy. We can apply for funding, and they help us out with it quite a bit. So yeah, New Zealand on air is great for that. But we also have to save up, and we have some good. We know some good people in New Zealand that are really good at what they do. Our cameraman, and he was he the director on one of them?
Yeah. So Piotr was, he directed one of our earlier videos, and for the last 3 video clips that we've done, he's actually been the guy filming and in charge of editing it and everything. So he makes awesome videos.
Yeah.
And,
He's quite a genius.
he's only 23, so he's really good at what he does.
Prodigy.
Yeah, he's a bit of a prodigy.
Yes, but that's the last questions we have made, and I'm a fan of your music too, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
a big thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I hope for you the better.
Thanks, man.
We hope the same thing.